All praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Makakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, and Shalom to the elect to the nation of Israel. And this is going to be a video on if you think we've got free will, then explain these Bible verses, all right? If you think we have free will, all you people that say about the Bible, you got to explain these Bible verses. I'm just going to go to all the places that I can remember offhand by where the Bible clearly shows that we do not have free will, all right? So the first one is Proverbs chapter 20 and verse 24, which reads this: man's goings are of Yahweh. How can a man then understand his own way, right? If a man's going, meaning the things that a man does, come from the Lord, how can a man truly understand his own life? That's what this verse is saying, right? If Yahweh might make let's look at Job. Job went through losing his sons, daughters, right? Getting his wealth drained, to realizing that his wife was faithless, to then getting all of his children back and getting back all the wealth. He's ended up losing his health, right? Went through all these things to then eventually end up boosted up. But he didn't understand why any of this stuff was happening. And a young man named Eli, who ended up revealing to him, man, yo, listen, man, watch your mouth, because Yahweh can do what he wants to do. Who are you? Where was you at? And then Yahweh ended up rebuking him as well, if I'm not mistaken, with how the story goes. Was like, yo, where was you when I made the sun? Where was you when I started making the foundation of the earth? To be questioning me and why I've made you a little bit sick. Boo-hoo, you're a little bit sick. Your children have perished. I can give you back all of those things. So watch your mouth. And that's what these people don't understand, man. No matter how bad of a life Yahweh gives us, if he has the power to make us not remember who we were when we reincarnate, is it really a bad thing if he can let's say he gave us 100 lifetimes where we lived to 50 years old, and then we had bad lives and miserable lives in every single one of those lives? That would be what, 50 times 100? That's 5,000 years of bad times, right? That's what that would be, right? Okay, but then let's say that in our next life we end up having one life that's got the most beautiful things forever. Eventually that one life would reach above 5,000 years. So we would have been paid back for all of those times that we suffered anyway. And that's what Yahweh has done in different ways. But now I'm not saying that we've had 50 lifetimes of 100 lifetimes of 50 bad years, right? But we've had bad lives until the kingdom came, right? And the only time where we had peace on this earth was the time of King Solomon's kingdom, which was 40 years of peace, and the rest of it's been trash, right? But we don't have overall the point I'm making is we don't have no free will. So we don't understand why Yahweh decided to make it this way, yet we understand at least that he did this, right? But for all you other people that you think that we do have free will, you've got to explain what this verse means. Because you can't say, oh, if there's a partial free will, then there's no free will. If you're not able to do everything that you want to do at all times, then there ain't no free will at all, at any time, right? Proverbs chapter 16 and verse 1, the preparations of the heart in man and the answer of the tongue is from Yahweh. So the things that we even prepare to think in our mind ultimately comes from Yahweh. And the answer of our tongue comes from Yahweh. So if you believe that, right, then the things that I'm saying right now, whether you believe that I'm making sense or whether you don't believe I'm making sense, that's from Yahweh. So if I'm chatting S right now, I'm chatting shit, everything I'm saying don't make no sense, Yahweh's making me lie right now, if you believe this Bible verse. But if I'm actually am talking sense and the things I'm saying are worthwhile and are according to the Holy Spirit, then it's not because of me that I'm doing this. It's because Yahweh's making me do it, right? Just like how when Jeremiah said, you know what, I don't want to speak in the Lord's name no more. I don't want to speak in the Lord's name no more. I'm refusing to talk about this anymore. Didn't it say that there was a burning fire in his body? Now, let me see if I can find that. I want to say it's Jeremiah 23. But Lord, will I be able to find wherever it is? Because I want to find that verse. I ain't read that verse for a long time, where he said, I said I wouldn't speak in the Lord's name. Okay, here it is, Jeremiah chapter 20 and verse 9. Then I said, I will not make mention of him, nor speak any more in his name. But his word was in mine heart as a burning fire shut up in my bones. And I was weary with forbearing, and I could not stay. So Jeremiah, because he was catching so much hell because he was believing in Yahweh, was like, you know what? I don't want to believe no more, and I'm not going to mention nothing to do with Yahweh no more. But by him deciding to not speak about Yahweh anymore, it's like there was a fire within him that he wasn't able to just imagine, right? Like, here's a good example. If somebody was wanting to throw up, like there's certain time where I've been nauseous in my life, and I'm sure all you other people understand the concept of being nauseous and you want to vomit, right? And the vomit ain't gonna allow you to swallow it back down, because that's just gonna make you want to throw up even more. If you decide, nah, I'm not throwing up, I'm gonna swallow it, I'm gonna swallow back the vomit. That's just gonna make you feel even more gross and more nauseous, and you're gonna try and puff your cheeks up to try and hold it in until you get to the toilet or something like that. But eventually, right, you will have no choice but to vomit, right? And when you vomit and throw up, you can't hold it back in. Well, that's like how it was with Jeremiah trying to not speak in the Lord's name. He was trying to be like, you know what? I want to say all praises to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai. I want to start telling these Israelites that the Babylonians are going to overtake them. But you know what? Every time I've been doing that, I've been catching hell. So you know what? I'm not going to do it no more. I'm not going to speak about this kingdom falling, that we're going to have to be 70 years in Babylon. I'm not saying it no more. I'm done. I'm through with talking all that. But guess what? When he tried to hold it in, Yahweh was like, no, you ain't holding nothing in. You're going to speak it. And it weakened him with trying to not speak about it. He was weary with forbearing. So he was catching hell with him when he did speak it. But then when he tried to not speak it, he was catching hell as well. Right? He was catching hell either way it went. Verse 10, for I heard the defaming of many, fear on every side. Reports say they, and we will report it. All my familiars watching for my halting. And that's what happens now in this world, man. There's people that know that we believe in Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai, and they're hoping for the day that we don't believe in him no more. They're like, okay, yeah, he's gonna stop believing in this soon, and then we're gonna be able to get him. Saying, peradventure he will be enticed, and we shall prevail against him, and we shall take revenge on him. Like, okay, he believes in this Lord thing now, but if we can get him to stop believing in it by making him catch a bit of hell, then eventually, you know what? We're going to be able to get our revenge for how he was treating us when he believed in it, because we don't want to get him now while he believes in it, because then we're going to have to admit that we're wicked and that we hate him because he believes in the Lord. But if he stops believing in the Lord, then we can get him, because then he don't believe in the Lord no more. That's the kind of way these people think about men that believe in Yahweh now. Right? They're hoping that we'll be enticed and that we'll stop believing in him, man. But here's the thing, whether we do or don't believe him all the way to the end is down to Yahweh. Right? It's not down to us. And that's the thing. Now, some people will say otherwise, but you've got to explain these Bible verses. You've got to explain these Bible verses that I'm bringing out in this lesson, if you believe that, right? Because I don't believe in no free will. I don't believe in it. Because there's plenty of times where a man might have the perfect plan in his mind for things to go a certain way, and it always just ends up losing. How do you explain that then? Is it just bad luck? Or is it that Yahweh is against him having the world the way how he wants to have it for himself? Jeremiah chapter 13 and verse 23. Can the Ethiopian change his skin? No, they can't. Or the leopard his spots? No, it can't. Then may ye also do good that are accustomed to do evil. Can somebody that Yahweh is designed to be evil do good? No, because there's something within them that's holding them back from being able to be a good person. They can't do it. They're going to be evil because he made them to be evil. The scriptures say there's spirits of vengeance, right? Their spirits created for vengeance, which in their fury lay on sore strokes and appease the wrath of him that made them. Can those spirits of vengeance that were made to appease the wrath of him that made them, can they start being like, you know what, I'm going to be a stand-up comedian instead? I'm not going to be a spirit of vengeance. I'm going to be a stand-up comedian, and I'm going to bring laughter into the world. No. That laughter would end up turning into some Wrath, and they'd end up being a Joker type character from Batman or something like that. Either way, they're gonna be what they're supposed to be, right? You are what you are, mate, and what you are is whatever Yahweh designed you to be. Yahweh Shai is the only begotten Son of the Heavenly Father because Yahweh made him be that. Yahweh Shai was the only one designed to be able to keep all the laws in a human fleshly body like what we have right now. The same body that you see, the same body that you're in right now, and you've went off, you've sinned, you might have bared false witness, you might have committed adultery, you might have lied, stealed, whatever sin, ate pork in there, been violent, crashed out, had wrath, had envy, been covetous once upon a time, committed lust in your heart. You see that same body that you've did all that wickedness in? Yahweh Shai was in a body just like this, and he never did none of that. So what kind of man was that? What kind of spirit did he have in him to be able to overcome a wicked flesh like this? He had a spirit in him created from Yahweh. And when you believe the scriptures like how we believe it as Israelites, according to this particular doctrine that, which again, I have to say this, the doctrine that Great Millstone teaches, which I'm not a member of Great Millstone, but I believe this doctrine, right? He had a spirit within him that Yahweh made, and he's the only person to have a spirit within him that Yahweh made directly, right? Yahweh Shai is the only spirit, according to what we believe as Israelites, that Yahweh ever actually made, and after he made that, everything else was made after that through Yahweh Shai. And this is such a thing that's in the scriptures that even some certain Jehovah's Witnesses believe this, that Yahweh made Yahweh Shai, and Yahweh Shai made everything else. And that's in the scriptures, right? It's in the scriptures, man. Now, let me carry on. So I've read that scripture there, Jeremiah 13 and verse 23. Now, there's more scriptures, right? Now, let's go to Romans chapter 9. Right, let's go Romans. In fact, let's go to this, because this shows that there ain't no free will as well. In fact, you know what? Let me go back even before that. Let me go Genesis 15. This is Genesis chapter 15 and verse, let's go to verse 13. And he said unto Abram, know of a surety that thy seed shall be a stranger in a land that is not theirs. Now these people, this seed, were not even alive at the time that this was written. At the time where this was said, the seed that this is speaking about did not exist, because Abram did not have any children at this time. Right, now, let me prove that. Genesis chapter 15 and verse 3. And Abram said, behold, to me thou hast given no seed, and lo, one born in mine house is mine heir. And behold, the word of Yahweh came unto him, saying, this shall not be thine heir, but he that shall come out of thine own bowels, meaning the one that's going to be your heir is going to be some seed that came out of your own testicles, out of your almonds, yeah, out of your walnuts, yeah, your almonds are going to be producing the real seed that's going to be your heir, man. And if you don't know what the almonds are the testicles, man. That's just how I'm talking it, right? One that's come out of your almonds is going to be your own heir. One that comes out of your testicles and enters into a woman, that's going to be where your heir is going to come from. Not from everyone's everyone and everything's everything where just joint. No, it's not going to be that. And he brought him forth, verse 5, and said, look now toward heaven and tell the stars if thou be able to number them. And he said unto him, so shall thy seed be, meaning that you're going to have unlimited seeds to the point where you can't ever number these people. And the way how this is going to truly come into fruition is by every single Israelite eventually being immortal, to where the numbers of Israelites never decreases, because there's going to come a time after the Israelites are under the new covenant that they never die ever again. Whereas right now on earth, the number of Israelites might go up for a time because Israelites are being born, but then it will decrease because Israelites are dying. But let's say after the kingdom of heaven, like let's say after the Jacob's trouble, for example, and I'm speaking this right now to people that are believers, that we actually understand what's going on, man. Let's just say that the members of the elect of the nation of Israel that survive the day of the Lord's wrath, right? Let's just say that, let me give a number. Let's say 10 million of us survive. Let's say there's 10 million people on the earth right now that are all members of the elect of the nation of Israel. Let's say like maybe there's 5 million that are going to escape out of Babylon the Great, and then 5 million that are from everywhere else where we've been scattered as a nation, right? Don't you know that from that point on, the minimum amount of Israelites, if this number that I'm guessing in my mind was to be true, but whatever number you want to think in your mind, let's say you say, oh, I think that there's going to be 12 million people that survive Jacob's trouble and end up being the first batch of the kingdom. And let's say there's 5 million, let's say there's 3 million of those are going to be men. And then the rest are going to be women and children, right? Let's just say that, for example, right? Let's just say that. Or whatever number you think. Don't you know that the minimum amount of Israelites that would ever exist from that point on would be 10 million? And then every single time after, let's say after a year goes by the kingdom, there's now been another 1 million Israelites born. Okay, now the minimum amount of Israelites that there will ever be on earth now will be 1 million. There'll never be a time where the Israelite population goes below 10 million ever again. That will never happen. It will only increase. And then let's say 1 billion years later, the Israelite population is 100 billion Israelites. Okay, well then from that point, the Israelite population will never ever go below 100 billion ever again. It will only be above it. Because those Israelites, none of them will ever die by natural causes from accidental deaths. The number will only ever increase. Right? Only ever increase, man. Let's carry on. So verse 30, and he said unto Abram, know of a surety that thy seed shall be a stranger in a land that is not theirs, and shall serve them, and they shall afflict them 400 years. Now, these people did not exist, mind you, when this was being said. They didn't exist. They were not born, right? They were not alive, man. They were not alive to say, oh, but I don't really fancy that, to be honest with you. They weren't alive. This judgment of their life and what was going to happen to them was destined before they was even existed. Abraham didn't have any children, didn't have no descendants physically, and was told they're going to go into a land that's not theirs and they're going to be captivity there for 400 years. Now, did they do something wrong to where this happened, was destined to happen to them? No, they didn't, right? And technically, I guess let me just think about it. This captivity of the children of Israel is the only captivity that they didn't sin to end up in. Yet, even those captivities where they sinned to end up in them under the curses, that was also destined to happen to them. Now, going back to this particular captivity, the judgment of the people that put them in captivity was also destined. But also was the destiny of them afflicting the Israelites for 400 years. Destined. So when they was going upside the Israelites' heads, whipping them, making them to serve with rigor, they thought in their mind, oh, we're doing this because we got the power over them. No, you're doing it because the Heavenly Father wants you to do it, but he also wants to judge you after you've did it. Verse 14, and also that nation whom they shall serve will I judge, and afterward they shall come up with great substance. So the substance that they was going to come out of the captivity with was also destined. Just like how after we've been made to serve with rigor in these kingdoms of Esau right now, it's destined that we're going to come out of it with a beautiful position, and we're going to end up immortal, and our nation is going to end up, our kingdom, our headquarters of Jerusalem, of Israel in general, are going to be like the Garden of Eden. How we're living is going to be like the Garden of Eden. Now, the world is going to be beautiful in general, but among Israel, among where the Israelites dwell, is going to be a completely different standard. Like, it's going to smell nice everywhere on the earth anyway, but when you see what it smells like in Israel, you're going to be like, damn. Like, even sometimes in this world, you might walk past a certain place, you might walk in a certain store, and then you just be like, man, they got all these diffusers and all these nice smells. You're like, man, it smells nice in here. And you might linger around a bit longer just because it smells nice. They might have scented candles and diffusers and all that stuff out, and it just smells nice there. And you're like, man, it smells nice. Or if you walk in one of these stores where they got all the fragrances, it just smells nice there, right? Well, in the kingdom of heaven, it's going to smell like that from flowers. It's just going to smell like that. Like if you walk into your own home and it's like there's a certain smell that your home has that you're like, oh, this smells like home. But then if somebody else has been in the house, you're like, right, what's that strange smell that I'm not aware of? You'll be able to know whether someone's been in your house based on a certain smell that you're not used to being in there, man. Right, now let me carry on. So that was part of that there's no free will. Right, now let's go to this Genesis chapter 25 and verse 21. And Isaac entreated Yahweh for his wife because she was barren, and Yahweh was entreated of him, and Rebekah his wife conceived, and the children struggled together within her, and she said, if it be so, why am I thus? And she went to inquire of Yahweh. And Yahweh said unto her, 2 nations are in thy womb, and 2 manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels, and the one people shall be stronger than the other people, and the elder shall serve the younger. So that's not free will, right? It wasn't free. What if the one people that was destined to be stronger than the other said, nah, you know what, I'm gonna go. But what if the weaker one said, I'm gonna go Jim, so that he ain't stronger than me? Would that work? No, because they was made to be stronger than the other, or the weaker, excuse me, was made to be weaker than the stronger. It wouldn't matter what they did. And the elder was destined to serve the younger, and they're gonna do it. They're gonna serve the younger for 1,000 years, and then after that, na 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 na, hey hey hey, goodbye. Yeah, that's what's gonna happen. They ain't gonna be able to find the lost secret apocryphal books, the secret apocryphal text. And if you say a certain name of the Lord before any humans existed, then his name wasn't always what these Israelites called upon him for. There was once another name. Like, these are the kind of dumb things that an Edomite would think. I'm not saying this. I'm just thinking the kind of dumb things that an Edomite would be tricked into believing. And if you say this name, then he'll undo every prophecy that he said. No. He made it from the beginning. Right? And there ain't no escape out of this, man. There ain't no escape. Right? There ain't no escape out of this destiny that they are going to receive, man. There ain't no escape out of this. Right? Yeah, I've read that. I don't need to read the rest of it. I made the point on that. Now let's also go to this Revelation 4 and 11. Revelation chapter 4 and let's go verse 10 in fact. The 24 elders fall down before him that sat on the throne and worship him that liveth forever and ever, and cast their crowns before the throne, saying, Thou art worthy, O Yahweh, to receive glory and honor and power, for thou hast created all things, and for thy pleasure they are and were created. So Yahweh made the Israelites to be like, you know what? This nation I'm going to make is going to show how merciful I can be. Because they're going to go off, because I'm going to make them go off. They're going to sin, because I'm going to make them sin. They're going to be foolish. They're going to be proud as hell. They're going to be given the most beautiful bodies that I could give to any humans on earth, but they're going to wax fat and kicked. And I'm going to give them a nickname, Jeshurun. And they're going to grow wax and fat and kicked, and they're going to disrespect me, because I'm going to make them disrespect me. I'm going to make them think, man, we're doing things like this, not because of Yahweh anymore. We're doing it because we're like that. And they're going to grow arrogant and proud, and then I'm going to punish them for being arrogant and proud. But I'm going to leave within that nation a remnant that are going to be righteous, because I'm making them righteous, because they're not really righteous. Because I've concluded that all those Israelites, those that believe in me and those that don't, are ultimately shown unbelief, because they've all sinned. They've all fallen short of what I said the standard of them was to be. But among all of these Israelites, I'm going to make one that's going to meet the standard, and I'm going to call him Yahweh Shai. And no other nation is going to ever be able to join onto these things that I'm going to give these Israelites, because I'm going to bind it to a promise that I've made with a man that I'm going to call Abraham. And nobody else is going to be able to ever join onto this, because I'm setting the standard. Because it's based on not the law, It's based on the promise, which ultimately comes from faith, which is something that I give directly when I make the spirits that I design in the heavenly realm. Whenever I make a spirit in the heavenly realm, I either decide to give it faith or I don't give it faith. And nobody can stop it from going that way because I'm making them in the heavenly realm. That's my bounds that I control, which is my throne, and the earth's my footstool. So nobody has a say on my throne, and nobody has a say on my footstool neither. This is what Yahweh did. Now, this is the way how we believe it as Israelites. All you people that have got a problem with it, that's fine. What you saying though? Yeah, you don't like how I'm bringing it out right now, but the things that I'm saying are not my own words. If you believe in lack of free will, Yahweh's making me say it like this, right? What do you think then? Okay, you with your free will, how are you explaining these verses? What do you say? Right? Because it says in Revelation 4:11, for thou hast created all things, and for thy pleasure they are and were created. Is that true or is it false? Because it means that everything was made for whatever use Yahweh made for it. Now, when you go Romans 9th chapter, it shows the use that Yahweh made for certain things. Now, let's go to it. Romans chapter 9 and verse 19. Thou wilt say then unto me, why doth he yet find fault? For who have resisted his will? Nay, but, O man, who art thou that replies against God? Shall the thing formed say to him that formed it, why hast thou made me thus? Have not the potter power over the clay, of the same lump to make one vessel unto honor and another unto dishonor? Can Yahweh, who makes all things not for his pleasure, make something that's going to be a vessel of honor and something that's a vessel of dishonor? Has Yahweh not made men in this earth, yeah, that they can just walk down the street and women twist their neck back 180 degrees to look at that man and walking down the street, and they're just fascinated by that guy? They're like, wow, he's just, you know what I mean? Like, I was listening to this guy, Kwame Brown, and he was just saying that because he's 7 foot, he was at some like female conference and something like that, and then the women was just looking at him like so he said they was looking at me like something stank because they was attracted to him. He said that one woman just looked him up and down and said, man, you a tall tree. Another woman looked at him and said, man, you a tall drink of water. And he was just like, man, I had to get out of there because them women was lusting after me too hard. Now, that's not every man's experience, because another man that would be seen by those same women, they might cross over to the other side of the street when they see him, man. Or they might pretend that on the phone. They might create an imaginary boyfriend out of somewhere. You know what I mean? They might pretend they don't speak English. That's a vessel that Yahweh's made to be that kind of way. Among women too. There's certain women that they just, when you just look at them, you're like, raw, this woman is just beautiful, man. But there's other women, you're like, nah, she ain't that. Now, because of delusions that Yahweh's put on these women in this world, the ones that do and the ones that don't, they all walk around like they're actually exactly the same. But they're not, though. But they carry themselves like they're all one and the same. But that's because of their lack of free will, and Yahweh's put delusions on these women right now to fulfill prophecy. Right? Let me carry on reading. Verse 21. Have not the potter power over the clay, of the same lump to make one vessel unto honor and another unto dishonor? Now, in the context of this particular chapter and verse, this is talking about the Edomites and the Israelites. Now, I know some people are going to say, no, it's not. Read the chapter from the beginning of the verse. Right? From the beginning of the chapter, I mean, from Romans 9:1. And if, in fact, just to quickly prove it, I'll show it. Romans chapter 9 and verse 13. As it is written, Jacob have I loved, but Esau have I hated. What shall we say then? Is that unrighteousness with God? God forbid. For he saith to Moses, I will have mercy on whom I will have mercy, and compassion on whom I will have compassion. So if Yahweh decided to not have mercy on you or compassion, you can't make him have compassion on you. You can't make him do that. It's out of your limits. You don't have it to do. Verse 16 said that it is not of him that willeth, it's not of your own will, nor of him that runneth, it's not about your own hard work or how strong-willed you are, but of God that showeth mercy. If God has not decided to show you mercy, you don't have it. Now, again, there's going to be people that don't agree with this. What are you saying then? What do these verses mean? Because they're in everyone's Bible. Do we have free will or do we not have free will? Some of you people like to try and say, oh, well, there's a partial free will. A partial free will is no free will. If you've got your own choice, kind of, then you don't have your own choice. Because saying, oh, we don't have our own free choice in the way how things go in general, but I had my free choice to make lasagna for dinner tonight. No, you didn't. Yahweh made you make lasagna tonight. Yeah? You don't have no free will anywhere. It's just the illusion of free will. You don't have it. Man's goings of Yahweh. How can a man then understand his own way? Every single thing that's done on this earth is to prove things that Yahweh set in his earth as facts. And to show, right, that we don't have free will and to fulfill and to fulfill the prophecies that he set. And to show the judgments that he said are true. Verse 17, for the scripture saith unto Pharaoh, even for the same purpose have I raised thee up, that I might show my power in thee, and that my name might be declared throughout all the earth. Now I already read Genesis 15. When Pharaoh did all of that stuff, that Pharaoh at the time that existed, that was the first Pharaoh to begin the punishments on the children of Israel. He didn't know that before he was even born, when Abraham was alive, never mind Joseph, because Joseph wasn't even alive when that captivity of the Israelites began to happen, right? But before even Joseph was alive, he didn't know that long before that, when Joseph's forefather Abraham was born and was alive, and before any children of Israel even existed, that it was destined for the Israelites to go into that captivity. Just like how Esau don't understand right now that it was destined ultimately for the children of Israel going back to the time of Moses, that we was going to have to serve in Egypt again, in ships this time though. And it was not going to be the same exact Egypt. It was going to be a modern Egypt that was going to be a place that was going to be called in the spirit Babylon the Great. And we was going to serve captivity there. Now, when they was bringing us over and punishing us and doing all these crazy things that they did to us, they didn't consider that. They were saying, oh, it's manifest destiny. Now, they weren't wrong, but they weren't right to the degree that they thought. Neither it was part of the destiny of Deuteronomy chapter 30 and verse 1. That we was going to go for the blessings and the curses and then have to speak about these things among all the places that we were scattered. But they didn't know that they was going to also have to pay on the latter end of it too. And that was also part of manifest destiny. Manifest destiny is a two-edged sword. It's not a one-edged sword, man. It don't go one way. Verse 17 again, for the scripture saith unto Pharaoh, even for the same purpose have I raised thee up, that I might show my power in thee, and that my name might be declared throughout all the earth. Therefore hath he mercy on whom he will have mercy, and whom he will he hardeneth. So if Yahweh decides to have mercy on you, he's going to have mercy on you. If he decides to harden and stiffen your neck so that you keep going off, you're going to do that. And you're going to be thinking while you're doing all of this that you're in control. The Edomites right now, with all the stuff that they're doing in this world, they actually believe that they're in control. They think, yeah, we're going to just crush these Israelites, man. We're going to ruin these Hebrews. That's what they think. But really, they're ruining themselves, right? Really, they're destroying themselves, man. But they're thinking in their delusion that they're in control and that they're in charge, man. But they're not in charge, though. They're actually not in charge of what they think they're doing. Verse 18, therefore he have mercy on whom he will have mercy, and whom he will he hardeneth. Did he not harden Pharaoh's heart? Now, some people will say that he didn't, but the scriptures clearly say that he did. I'm reading it right now. But then when you go to the book of Romans, the book of Exodus, then I think it's in the 9th chapter and the 10th chapter, and a few other chapters that he hardened Pharaoh's heart. They'll say something else. But it's clear that he hardened his heart to do what Yahweh wanted him to do. Not what he wanted to do, man. Verse 19, thou wilt say then unto me, why doth he yet find fault? Because this is what some people say. Well, how is he going to punish people then when he's making them do it? Because that's what he wanted to do. Don't you get it? This whole thing on the earth is about what he chose you to be. And you're lucky if you're an Israelite. Now you're a bit less lucky if you're a heathen, but you're luckier to be a heathen than you are to be an Edomite. Because to be an Edomite is the worst one you could be, because you don't have no everlasting habitat on the earth then. Right? If you're a heathen, you get to come back again and again and again, I guess, right? Through different reincarnations, but you never get to be immortal on the earth. But some people have decided to lose their mind as Israelites and call this salvation. No, it's not. Because true salvation is being saved from things that humans were not supposed to ever go through, which is death. And the only nation given the gift of going through this are the Israelites through the new covenant. Right? That's the only nation blessed to be able to receive this in that way. Now, I would not call salvation being under another nation that rules over you with a rod of iron, while they end up having the ability to not have to go and suffer because God ultimately gave them the cheat code of the laws being implanted in their mind, and it becomes a natural thing. It becomes as natural to them keeping the law. Keeping the laws becomes as natural to them as breathing is for us. That's what it's going to be like for the heathen. They can keep these. So you're telling me these Israelites can keep the law the same way how my heart pumps blood and how I just unconsciously breathe? Yeah, that's exactly what I'm telling you. The same way how they know don't commit adultery, don't lust after a woman that's married, keep the Sabbath due, Passover, Day of Atonement, don't eat this because it's got pork in, don't eat that, don't eat this, don't do this, don't do that. And in order to keep all of these laws continually, forever, perfectly, never sin and never go off ever. Even it wouldn't even be possible to try and trick them into sinning, to try and sneak pork into the food. It's not going to be possible. They'll know it was in there. That's the same way how we can consciously breathe. Oh, I was born breathing and I was breathing in my mother's womb. Okay, an Israelite's going to be born knowing how to keep the laws. So if you want to make it a competition, like it's not even one. Right? That's what it's going to be like. And this is not because the Israelites in themselves did something so great. It's because Yahweh made it like that. Verse 24, even us whom he have called, not of the Jews only, but also of the, let me go back. Verse 22, what if God willing to show his wrath? Because he made people to show his wrath and to make his power known. He made them to show his power. I'm going to make a nation that's going to be able to rule. I'm going to give them the power to take away peace from the earth, right? And then I'm going to take my son Yahweh Shai. I'm going to use him to bring back peace to the earth. So I'm going to make this nation take peace away from the earth. Going to make the world miserable to live in, to where people are going to be like, you know what? I don't even want to be alive no more down here. And I'm going to use my son that I made, and I'm going to use him to bring peace back to the earth. He's going to take away the ability for that these people have to take away peace from the earth, and he's going to bring peace back to it. And through him, I'm going to show my power. This is what Yahweh did. What if God wanted to show his wrath and to make his power known, endured with much long suffering the vessels of wrath fitted to destruction, and that he might make known the riches of his glory? He's made the Israelites to show his glory on the vessels of mercy which he have afore prepared unto glory. He made them, he prepared us unto glory. So when we receive the glory that we're going to get in the kingdom, that's already been waiting for us, man. The same earth right now that people trying to say is overpopulated, right? Oh, the earth's overpopulated and it's hot, like there's too many people on earth. Don't you know this? The same earth that people are saying that about is the same earth that's going to have unlimited Israelite nation that's immortal. That literally by our own selves, we'll be able to fill the earth's population. Don't you know that? So obviously someone's lying. Either the earth can be inhabited by everyone, and all the people that are on the earth right now can inhabit the earth, because just know that whatever the earth's population is right now, some people say 8 billion, some people might say 9 billion. Okay, let's just say that, let's run with those numbers. The day is going to come where just the Israelite population in itself is going to be that amount. And then the heathen amount is going to surely be high too, because the heathen nations are going to be serving the Israelites. And the heathen's average lifespan might increase to 100 years, let's say. The average heathen lifespan might expand to 100 years healthily too. But the average Israelite lifespan is going to be immortal. There's not going to be no average. It's just going to be they're immortal because they're an Israelite. There's not going to be, the average Israelite due to the new covenant lives to a 5,200 years old. But some can expand 10,000. It's just going to be the average Israelite is immortal all the time in general. They're just immortal all the time. There's never an Israelite that doesn't live past. There's never an Israelite that's life ends ever. And they don't ever have a reason for their life to want to end, because they're blessed all the time on earth. Let's carry on. Verse 23, and that he might make known the riches of his glory and the vessels of mercy which he hath afore prepared unto glory, even us whom we have called, not of the Jews only, but also of the Gentiles. Now, this is the part where people spaz out. When it says not of the Jews only, it means not of the Israelites that was born keeping the laws only, but also of the Israelites that was born among the Gentiles, following the ways of the Gentiles, that are going to believe on Yahweh Shai. Right? This is what he's talking about. Now, I'm going to carry on the topic of free will and it not being real. Let's carry on, man. Let's go to... Here's one that I like to read as well. Sirach chapter 18 and verse 1. He that liveth forever have created all things in general. And that's what people don't... They try and get smart. Also, he's saying that God created iPhones. Also, he's saying that God created Teslas and automated vehicles. Yeah. Because the person that was lived forever and never had to be made, created all things in general, because he made all the things that you make. Anything that you make and design, he made that. He made all the things that you make. Right? Oh, you made a car. Okay, who made you make it though? The person that lives forever made you make it. And that's just how it goes, man. The one that lives forever made you make the things that you made, man. That's how it goes. The Lord only is righteous, and there is none other but he, who governs the world with the palm of his hand, and all things obey his will. Right? And all things obey his will, for he is the king of all, by his power dividing holy things, the vessels of mercy, that have afore prepared unto glory, among them from profane, the vessels of wrath created to destruction. Right? He made all. And everything obeys his will. There ain't no free will around here, man. And all you people that believe that there is, okay, do a lesson involving every single verse that I've used in this video and show how free will is not spoken of in those verses. Okay, you might say you want to go and use other verses, all right, but you also have to include these verses as well, because they're in the Bible and they clearly show that there's no free will. Right now, I'm not done. There's still some more verses as well that I can go to as well that I just thought of out the top of my head that Yahweh put in there. This is Ephesians chapter 1 and verse 11, in whom also we have... In fact, you know what? Let me go up a bit. Ephesians chapter 1 and verse 3. Blessed be the God and Father of our Lord Yahweh Shai HaMashiach, who have blessed us with all spiritual blessings in heavenly places in HaMashiach, according as he hath chosen us in him before the foundation of the world, that we should be holy and without blame before him in love. Who shall lay anything to the charge of Yahweh's elect? It is Yahweh that justifieth. Who is it he that condemneth? It is Hamashiach that puts intercession for us, man. Right? Having predestined us unto the adoption of children by Yahweh Hamashiach to himself, according to the good pleasure of his will. Didn't I read a verse that pretty much said the same thing in Sirach 18? It's not about your own little, what you think. It's predestination. Verse 11, in whom also we have obtained an inheritance, being predestined according to the purpose of him who worketh all things after the counsel of his own will. There it goes again, about Yahweh's will. It's not about no man what he thinks he's going to do. It's about Yahweh's own will, man. Yahweh decides what he's going to do. Right? Yahweh chooses, man. Yahweh chooses what he's going to do. Let's carry on. Yeah, let me go Romans 8 as well. Because people would love for there to be free will, but they ain't. Romans chapter 8 and verse 29. For whom he did foreknow, he did also predestinate to be conformed, changed to the image of his son, that he might be the firstborn among many brethren. Yahweh Shai is the firstborn. Yahweh Shai is the first one to be born into immortality, man. Yahweh Shai bared the earthly image, right? Then he bared the spiritual. He bared the mortal image. Now he's under the heavenly one, right? And that's not according to that's not according to free will, excuse me, that's according to no free will. He's predestinated for it to be that way. That Yahweh Shai had the preeminence, the first of everything, man. Verse 30, moreover, whom he did predestinate, them he also called, and whom he called, them he also justified. Right? Who shall lay anything to the charge of Yahweh's elect? Is Yahweh that justifieth, meaning that are the elect gonna have committed crimes, did things wrong? And when I say crimes, excuse me, when I say crimes, I mean sinning according to God's laws. Are they gonna have sinned according to God's laws? Yes, they will have, absolutely. Absolutely, they will have. What shall we say then to these things? If God be for us, who can be against us? Meaning, God's already set the order of how it's going to be. So ultimately, and this is for all Israelites really now, how I'm going to speak this, ultimately, all the Israelites are going to win anyway. And when you read Romans, the 11th chapter, you get the answer to that. Ultimately, all the Israelites are going to win. They can't lose, right? He that spared not his own son, but delivered him up for us all, that was also destiny. How shall he not with him also freely give us all things? So the same son that he used to give us mercy for our sins, that's the same Israelite that he's going to use to give us the kingdom. That's going to make us be immortal, be under the new covenant, be continually blessed and never cursed. Right? Verse 33, who shall lay anything to the charge of Yahweh's elect? Is Yahweh that justifieth. Who is he that condemneth? Is it Mashiach that died? Yea, rather that is risen again, who is even at the right hand of Yahweh, who also maketh intercession for us. And this is according to Yahweh's will, how he set it to be, man. Right? And I'm going to end the lesson there now. This was just a few verses, and I'm sure there's more. But these were just a few verses that go into how we don't have free will. But for all you people that believe that we have free will, okay, you believe we got free will, address these Bible verses, man. And on that, I'm going to say shalom to the nation of Israel. Shalom.